Welcome to the training presentation on the HEDR Organizational Self-Assessment Tool for Equity and Inclusion. In this video, we will explore the area of organizational foundation indicators. At certain points in this video, you will be invited to pause the video and engage in conversations. Please keep the following guidelines in mind. Everyone speaks for their own experience. Be open to new ideas. Be sensitive and respectful. We may encounter areas that may challenge us and cause discomfort, and that's an important part of growing and learning. What is the best way to begin the process of using the tool? There are different ways to approach the indicators depending on your unique needs. Here are a few ideas. A. Prioritize. Have stakeholders do a dotmocracy activity to vote on the indicators that need most urgent attention. See the facilitator's guide for details. B. Adapt. Select indicators and adapt them to best meet the needs of your organization. C. Delegate. Divide the indicators among various equity champions, stakeholders, or groups in the organization to seek out the potential examples and suggest action items scoring. Organizational Foundation Indicators. Indicator. Diversity and inclusion are embedded within the mission and strategy and are key values. The mission, vision, and strategy of the organization provide the basis for demonstrating a commitment to equity and inclusion. Statements should be clear, understandable, and obvious to all that equity is a priority. Evidence examples. Mission statement includes inclusive language and feels like it embraces all individuals. Examples of mission statements. Great mission statements are inclusive. Every student will explore and enhance their potential, passions, and strengths to thrive as contributing global citizens. Not so great mission statements. These don't feel good. Unchallenged marketplace dominance. So for example, if we are creating a mission statement for an organization that provides housing options, we could replace the mission statement with person-first language that is open and non-stigmatizing. Instead of, to give the homeless a home, how about this? Building a secure community through appropriate housing for everyone. Key values are listed to accompany the mission statement and include statements about reflecting diversity, equity, and inclusion. A philosophy statement includes belief ethos or background of the organization and emphasizes the relevance of inclusion and the value of diversity. Strategic planning has an inclusion lens, looking at all planning with a vision of building equity into practices that achieve goals. Let's discuss. Pause the video and discuss your own organization's mission, vision, and/or core values statements, strategic plan, multi-year plan, or other statements about the organization. List the evidence. Score individually and discuss. Indicator. All levels of the organization, e.g. board of directors, leadership, staff, and volunteers, demonstrate that diversity and inclusion are aligned with the mission and vision. Equity and inclusion sometimes fall to one or two champions in the organization, an equity team, or department. Organizations who fully embrace equity as everyone's responsibility move forward towards inclusion in more organic ways. Evidence examples. Messages and communications from people in leadership and management positions include inclusive and respectful language and themes. Messages and communications from people in staff and volunteer positions include inclusive and respectful language and themes. Respectful and person-first language used in policies, practices, and forms. What kind of language is inclusive? Person-first language is respectful and eliminates generalizations and stereotypes by focusing on the person rather than the label. Examples of person-first language: a person or people on the autism spectrum, a person who exhibits the symptoms of schizophrenia, people with disabilities, or people of varied abilities. Examples of language that doesn't feel respectful: those people, the problems we deal with. Examples of respectful language: the people we serve, or persons served, concerns of the persons served, needs of the people we serve. Evidence examples: Bill of Rights for clients or persons served, Bill of Rights for volunteers. Strategic plan includes and emphasizes inclusionary vision and practices. Promotional materials, annual reports include information about all people in the organization and are not arranged in hierarchical order. Promotional materials, newsletters, or communications have photos or stories about people of various ages, genders, ethnic origins, etc. Indicator: all levels of the organization, e.g. board of directors, leadership, staff, and volunteers, reflect the diverse community and are selected according to specific skills and competencies. Evidence examples: hiring documents. Job position postings and hiring documents state equity and inclusive hiring practices. Skills and competencies. Human resources practices and policies reflect that both recruitment and advancement of all people within the organization are based on skills and competencies, and not on favoritism or appearance. Community is reflected. The personnel within the organization reflect a range of diverse individuals, also reflected within the community. Indicator: organizational, strategic, and business planning have incorporated diversity and inclusion objectives. Evidence examples: the strategic plan includes detailed demographics of the service area. Business planning allocates resources to increasing equity and improving inclusion practices. Meeting agendas and meeting notes give evidence that the topics of equity, diversity, and inclusion practices are discussed for the purpose of improvement. Indicator: relevant demographic data from community assessments have been used to establish targets and support planning. Demographic and self-identification data may include quantitative and qualitative information and help an organization to understand better who they are serving and what the needs are. Data helps an organization to identify gaps in service. For example, you may notice through demographic data that there is a large group of people who speak a certain language, but they are not currently using your programs or services. Evidence examples: the following may be used in service planning, addressing gaps in services, or setting targets, goals. Collection of reports and community lens information. Demographic data from census information or municipal reports. Case studies, case examples, and human stories with non-identifying details become part of the qualitative measurement and anecdotal support. Indicator: organizational policies and strategic planning have included input from staff, personnel, and stakeholders, and is communicated to staff, personnel, and stakeholders. Evidence examples: policies, procedures, and guidelines align with legislation around Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act and the Ontario Human Rights Code. The strategic plan is shared or is accessible to all levels and areas of the organization, persons served, personnel, and stakeholders. Human Resources Manual with inclusive policies is communicated and accessible to every person in the organization. Volunteer Policies and Practices Manual with inclusive practices is communicated and accessible to every person in the organization. Indicator: Outcomes in implementing inclusion practices are promoted, measured, analyzed, and reported on regularly for the purpose of improvement and transparency. We attend to those goals and practices that we measure and check on regularly. Embedding equity and inclusion into ongoing improvement plans ensures that the equity conversation continues to grow. Evidence examples. Annual report details continuous focus and actions in improving inclusion practices. Business improvement plan or performance improvement plan shows indicators that focus on increasing diversity or inclusion measures. Equity, culturally responsive practices, and diversity plan shows progress and updates, especially in training initiatives, collaborative partnerships, new projects or ventures, service additions or modifications, and improving documents or manuals. Indicator. Organizational culture provides a positive experience in welcoming, inclusive environment for both employees and persons served. E.g., organizational practices align with the written policies and procedures. Culture is what we see, hear, experience, and feel in an organization as either people who utilize services, clients, stakeholders, volunteers, staff, leadership. Evidence examples. Welcoming signs. Multilingual welcome signs, rainbow flag, service animals, and welcome stickers that welcome people who may seek confirmation that they are included. Positive space. Positive space and LGBTQ+ posters and visuals represented on images are visible. Reception areas. People are greeted in reception areas and service delivery areas in positive and culturally respectful ways. Gender pronouns are not assumed. Gender-neutral washrooms. Washroom options provide an all-gender option. Representation. Photos of people or quotes testimonials on information which represents the organization show people of various genders, ethnic backgrounds, cultural styles as appropriate to the organization's services. Pause the video. Please discuss some of these and other specific evidence in your organization that contribute to a positive and inclusive culture. Identify any gaps that need to be addressed. Thanks for considering the indicators and evidence that support equitable organizational foundations. We encourage you to continue to apply the Organizational Self-Assessment Tool for Equity and Inclusion to one of the other 5 content areas that your organization has selected to explore. You can continue with scoring and action planning. If you need assistance, view video number 2 using the HEDR Organizational Self-Assessment Tool for Equity and Inclusion. This concludes the HEDR training presentation. For more information or to book a facilitator to help you lead the self-assessment process, please contact HEDR. HEDR would like to thank the following: